Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is December the 18th. My apologies for being a few minutes late. Had some camera issues. Trying to work through those. I think we should be good to go now, though. So tons of games. I think it's 12 games in the NBA for today. We will not go through all of them. It sounds diabolical to try to get through all 12 games. But I will give you guys some thoughts and some looks on some player props. And then there is a side that I do really like as well. And if I'm being completely honest, I got a little bit more work to do on the card as well. So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Yesterday, nothing official for me. I think the looks on the show went 2-1. I talked about Dean Wade after I started the show. That would have been a loser. He finished with 2 points. But Kobe White did go over his 21.5. I think he got to 25 last night. And then the Minnesota and Memphis game did stay under the total, but that was kind of too. It was hard to kind of make that play because of the injury report yesterday. Ja ended up being ruled out, and of course Anthony Edwards ended up being ruled out as well. So would have been a 2-1 night though yesterday based on what we talked about. Olivia says, "Good morning, Chris. Can we trust the NBA? I'm not sure. Depends on what you want to trust, Olivia." PZ says, "Top of the morning, gang. Let's get to the window." What up, Vario? He says, "I'm on Indiana plus the 4.5 scheduled loss. With Philly on deck tomorrow. Them boys were partying in Vegas. Quick turnaround. Injury report is lengthy. We're going to talk about it, Mario." Good morning, Algina. She says, "Good morning, Chris and chat. Let's find some winners. Big underdogs again last night." Yeah, both dogs won. Home dog won. Road dog won last night. Both dogs. So Rick says, "Good morning, fam. Up early taking notes." Yeah, I got some stuff for y'all to write down for sure. Good morning, Bitsy. Reminding people to hit the like button. Appreciate that. Rhino says, "Told y'all about Garland." He said, "I actually took the money line last night with the Bulls. I was watching the game, fourth quarter. Donovan Mitchell tried to put him on his back. It just could not happen last night. Could not happen." Good morning, Justin. Happy Friday to you, my brother. Hope all is well. Let's jump into it for today. Jackson actually went. So we start with Jackson. Jackson went 0-2 yesterday. Jackson, like the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, of course, this was without Anthony Edwards, and you would never play that, in my opinion, without Anthony Edwards. But Jackson, like Minnesota, minus 7.5. And Jackson liked the over between Chicago and Cleveland, and that ended up being a loser last night as well. Cleveland couldn't even score the basketball last night. It's interesting because they still like so overvalued. But anyway, 0-2 night for Jackson yesterday. I asked Jackson today for some redemption, a spread in a total bet. What's the best spread and total bet on the board for today? Jackson actually likes going against Vario early here. Jackson likes the Knicks minus the 3.5. It says they're currently operating at an elite level while the Indiana Pacers are struggling significantly, making the spread, making this a primetime spot to back the favorite on a relatively short spread. The statistical gap between these two teams is massive, suggesting the Knicks should cover the line comfortably. So there's a net rating dominance. The Knicks boast the fourth best net rating in the league at 8.6, reflecting their ability to consistently outscore their opponents. Conversely, the Pacers ranked 27th in net rating of 7.9. The 16.5 point differential in net rating is one of the largest on the slate. So offensive firepower, the Knicks offense is rated number 2 in the NBA with an offensive rating of 122, and second in points per possession. They're highly efficient, ranking 5th in effective field goal percentage. The Pacers' defensive woes, Indiana's defense is simply not equipped to handle the Knicks' offensive attack. They rank 28th in point differential at -9, and 23rd in points allowed per 100 possessions. They also rank dead last at 30th in effective field goal percentage allowed at the rim at 61.2%. So it talks about the winning streak. Knicks entered the game on a 6-game winning streak and have covered the spread in 6 consecutive games. They recently defeated Spurs in the NBA Cup championship, though unofficial, showing they are prepared to compete on the big stage. Then there's Pacers struggles. I'm not going to continue to read all that, but it's a lot of different data points that likes that. The other one is the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trail Blazers over the 237.5. Over 237.5 is available on a couple books. So this says high pace versus poor defense. So this game is a perfect storm of high scoring affair driven by two teams that play at a fast pace and struggle significantly on the defensive end. Pace. The primary driver for the over is the pace of play. The Trailblazers play at the third fastest pace in the league at 103.5 possessions per game. Second to only the Miami Heat. The Kings are not far behind, ranking 9th in pace at 101.84 possessions per game. When two fast teams meet, the possessions count skyrocket, leading to more scoring opportunities. Defensive deficiencies. Neither team is known to play defense. The Kings rank 27th in the league at 119.6, 27th in points allowed per 100 per possession, and the Trailblazers rank 23rd in defense, 117, and they're 22nd in points per 100 possessions allowed. The Kings' recent form: Kings have lost 7 of their last 8 games, indicating their defense struggles are ongoing. The Trailblazers have lost 6 of their last 8, despite a recent wins, suggesting their defense remains vulnerable as well. Then there's over trends. The over has cashed 5 of the last 7 for Portland and 10 of their last 13 games against Western Conference opponents. And then there's some narrative stuff here. I'm not going to read all of it, but as always, if you guys are interested in this, prompt or any prompt, player props, whatever it is, head over to Jackson. Use it for other sports as well. Link is in the description if you guys are interested. Let's jump into it. So I told you guys from the beginning, I'm not going through every single game. I do have a couple player prop looks that I wanted to share with you guys based on the research that I've done so far. So we'll do just that. The first one is heading to the Charlotte and Atlanta game. So I'm actually going to go over to Outlier just so you guys can see what I see. The first one I'm looking at is Jalen Johnson. So let me minimize myself. All right. So the first one I'm looking at is Jalen Johnson in this game. Initially, so if we are talking about this game, the first thing that we have to report is that Trae Young is potentially back. He's listed as questionable. He's been upgraded to questionable. He practiced with the G League team a couple days ago. He practiced with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or the day before. Porzingis is still out. And then on the Charlotte side of things, LaMelo Ball is questionable. Trey Mann continues to be out. No Colin Sexton. Grant Williams, of course, is out. And no Pat Connaughton. So initially, when I'm looking through Jalen Johnson's line, which let me pull that up. I'm looking through Jalen Johnson's line. This line is super low. Specifically, what I want to play, I started this handicap with his rebounds and assists because the number is so low, right? 17.5. Now, if we just look at the full season, we can see that he's been crushing this number. Over in 63% of his games, 15 of his last 15 of 24. And then more recently, you see he started with four unders. So you could say 15 of his last, 20 games he's over, which is 15 divided by 20 is 75%. So he's been crushing this number, right? You can see the overs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if we go here and filter games played, games with Trae Young, if Trae Young plays, who's listed as questionable, number does not look good. 17.5. He's actually going under in every single game with Trae Young in. You can see that here at 17.5. Which led me to, so this is how I started the handicap, but this is what it led me to. It led me to his rebounds. So Jalen Johnson's rebounds listed at 10.5. You can see that he has been cashing 3, 4, 5, 6 overs before he finished with 10 against Philly. I like this one though, because Jalen Johnson actually gets a really difficult matchup in this game as far as boards go. I know he's a really good rebounder, but if I'm looking at Jalen Johnson as far as his rebounds go, I think it's a little bit of an underspot. We're looking at a Charlotte team that, they don't do a lot right, but they are a great rebounding team. They are 4th in as far as rebounds allowed in general. They give up the first fewest offensive rebounds, or the fewest offensive rebounds, and the 5th fewest defensive rebounds as well. Opponents like Jalen Johnson have gone to the under in 3 of the 4 matchups so far this season. I went back. I think this is the first matchup this season between these two teams. Well, he actually played them earlier this season. He had 14 rebound chances, finished with 8. And then last year when he played against him, he went under in both games as well. He finished with 7 and 3. So I like Jalen Johnson under his 10.5 boards in this matchup. To me, I think it makes a ton of sense. You can see the rebounds allowed are here, 3rd. It's just a really tough matchup, in my opinion, as far as rebounds go. So, yeah, I like Jalen Johnson under his boards in this game. I think it's a reason why this, 10.5 is at plus money. So that's the first player prop look I wanted to take you guys through. The next one is so I want to try to find a way to play Duncan Robinson. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get there. I feel like the books have dropped this number, and I think it's warranted. So Detroit is playing against Dallas tonight in Dallas. If we look at Duncan Robinson points, you can see that they're at 9.5. He's been, pretty good over this line. You can see 6 of his last 10 games. If we just zoom out to the full picture, you can see that he has hit the number 63% of the time so far this season. If we look at just road games, you can see that he's also hit the number 64% of games. But he gets a very, very difficult matchup in this game against the Detroit Pistons, against the Dallas Mavericks, who, if they do anything well, and as far as the injury report goes, Anthony Davis, of course, is on the injury report, listed as questionable as he has been for his whole career. And then D'Angelo Russell is listed as questionable. Brandon Williams is also listed as questionable. In Detroit, will be pretty sound in this game. I think nobody is on the injury report for them. So the reason why I was looking at targeting, Duncan Robinson in this game is because we know that this Dallas defense is not necessarily that bad. If you look at them on the full season, Dallas is a pretty good defense, specifically at home. But specifically, just in general, 9th in defensive rating, 4th in opponent effective field goal percentage, and they do a really good job. So they're number 1 in opponent above the break 3 frequency and 2nd in opponent above the break 3 accuracy. Overall 3-point frequency and accuracy, they're 2nd as far as frequency goes and 1st as far as accuracy. So they are the number 1 3-point defense in the NBA. Corner 3, they're 8th in frequency and opponent frequency, 4th in opponent accuracy as well. And you can see the numbers right here, right? Like Duncan Robinson, is somebody that goes over his prop, but the line, I feel like, is kind of already adjusted. It's adjusted down, which is why I think this should have been like 10.5, because you can see he's been clearing this number. He's averaging 11.6, but this is one I just kind of feel like based on my numbers, if Detroit's going to score the ball, it's going to be at the rim. Like, I think Cade will be able to get to the rim, especially if if Anthony Davis doesn't play, and Jalen Duren will have a big game on the offensive end. But I think Dallas will take away Duncan Robinson in this game. So I kind of want to bet on Duncan Robinson under his 9.5 points in this spot. I do think that that's something that I will be looking at a little bit more. Like I said, based on the numbers, it don't look like a sexy bet, based on hit rate, but I think that's a good number today as well. The other thing I considered was, I didn't bet this one yet either, was Zubac. So Zubac gets a very difficult matchup today against the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course. And you see the point spread in this game is pretty significant. So points plus rebounds for Zubac, you can see that he's over in 6 of his last 10 games. Line is listed at 24.5. He's averaging 28. So you can tell, of course, that this has been adjusted down as well. If we just zoom out for the full season, he's averaging 27. So super conservative number, which most numbers have to be when you're playing against OKC, specifically when you're in OKC. This is a game where, we know this already, right? We know that this team does not give up points in the paint. I do think that this game will be a blowout as well, based, highly indicative of the spread itself. So Zubac, you can see that, the Oklahoma City Thunder give up the fewest points in the paint. They are number 1. I didn't talk about the injury report in this game, but OKC will be without Isaiah Hartenstein. They still have Chet, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, other Kendrick Williams as well. Like, I think they have enough. And I just think that the Clippers are going to struggle to score the basketball without James Harden in this game, who's already been rolled out. Batum is also listed as questionable. And, of course, no Derrick Jones Jr. So I consider Zubac under his points plus rebounds, just, knowing that it's going to be a tough matchup for them. And if this game get out of hand, the Clippers will pull their starters because Ty Lue don't keep their starters in for a significant amount of time. I think OKC coming off that, game where they lost to the Spurs will be super motivated, especially at home. They've owned the Clippers for a really long time as well. So I think this game does get out of hand. If I'm betting the spread, if I'm betting the game, I'm betting the total, the Oklahoma City Thunder team total specifically up and over the 118.5, or 119.5, I think is the number now. So that's my thought process on this game. Zubac is going to struggle. I also consider Kawhi under his points prop. I think, Kawhi is at 24.5, I want to say. Let's see. When I looked at it, it was 24.5, 23.5, it looks like. So it's coming down. I think it's 24.5, most other books. Yeah, 24 and a half. And then you can see it open 24 and a half, but it's coming down to 23 and a half. And I agree with that too. Because like I said, if it's a blowout, then, he's going to struggle. If we look at the head-to-head matchup, he didn't play against them this year, but he played against them last year at 25. I just feel like without James Harden out there, it's going to be really hard for this team to score the basketball efficiently. And it's going to make it hard for Kawhi to get his looks. I think they'll be able to zone up against Kawhi. You can see that the team gives up the fewest points in general. Against the small forward position, they give up the fewest points as well. Unders against OKC, is a thing. And that's why the team total for the Clippers is 101 and a half today. The books are anticipating that they may not get to 100 points. So that was the other player prop look. Last one I wanted to talk to you guys about was one that we should have all just been playing and, waking up and just taking our money and, just being happy about it. And that's Miles Turner. Rebound prop listed at 5.5 plus money, and we see, right? I think we've been talking about this since the Detroit game. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 straight games he's gone under this number. It doesn't matter if Giannis plays, if Giannis is out. Dude just allergic to getting rebounds. So with Giannis out, you can see this season. These are games from this season. Matter of fact, let's see. Yeah, these are all games from this season. You can see that he's averaging 5.2 over in just 4 of his 10 games, under in 4 straight. He gets a matchup against the Toronto Raptors that I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about the matchup. This is more so predicated off Miles Turner just being allergic to being able to go out there and grab rebounds. Now, Kyle Kuzma is listed as questionable for this game, so I think you got to take that into consideration as well. But yeah, I'll be looking at Miles Turner under his boards. Toronto isn't the greatest rebounding team. They're about middle of the pack, 14th as far as rebounds allowed. They don't give up a ton of offensive rebounds. Hopefully, Jakob Poeltl should be able to keep them off the glass. I think it's a pretty decent matchup. I would be looking at Miles Turner under his boards. 5.5 is a high number for him. So you take the juice, it's like minus 140. But even under 4.5, for him to get the 5 rebounds, you can see on the screen, it's not something that he does a lot of, is rebounding basketball based on these numbers here. Rebound chances, not super high, right? Only 1 double-digit rebound chance game so far in his last 5. So in his last 4. So how am I going to expect him to go out there and get 6 boards if he's only getting 7 rebound chances or 8 rebound chances? So that's something that I considered as well. And that'll be it as far as player props go. As far as sides and totals go, so if we go back to let's see. If we go back to this screen and we go here, as far as spreads and totals, I didn't want to make all the graphic today, but if we go back and look at spreads and totals, the one that sticks out to me the most is the Brooklyn and Miami game. So it's a couple that stick out, but let's go through the Brooklyn Miami game first. So injury report is actually like makes me want to stop sports betting. I'm really starting to like become super frustrated with all the questionables, and you got to it's a full-time job that you never get a chance to take a break off, and then you got to I digress. I'm not going to come on here and vent about it, but it really does frustrate me a lot. So the injury report for this game has Norman Powell listed as questionable, which of course is humongous to the spread. Tyler Hero is already out. Jovic is out. And then on the Brooklyn side of things, they'll be pretty healthy as they have been recently. No Cam Thomas and Howard Haysmith. But I'm looking at Miami last night, and I'm looking at Brooklyn. So this is a Miami team that's lost 5 games in a row. Let's see. I just want to pull up my numbers that I had last night when I was looking at it. Let's see. Okay, so this is a Miami team that's lost 5 in a row. They're only 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. They're 7-3 to the under. They're playing their first leg of a back-to-back. They got the Boston Celtics tomorrow. This is the Miami Heat, of course. They just look like a shell of themselves, right? It's crazy to think. We said this after, before their last game as well. They are the worst offensive efficiency team in the NBA in their last 5 games. This is a Miami team that on the full season, was scoring the basketball. They're still a top 5 offense on the full season. Offensive efficiency is 16th overall, but last 5 games, 104.7. And they are the fourth worst efficiency differential team in the NBA in their last 5 games, minus 9.1, which is 26. The Brooklyn Nets, on the other side of things, have won 4 of their last 6. They've covered 4 of their last 6. It's their second straight home game, so they haven't even had to travel after they absolutely annihilated the Milwaukee Bucks in their last game. And it's a 3-game homestand, so they don't have to travel after this game. And they have tomorrow off, where Miami got to, like I said, got to go to Boston. So I like Brooklyn here, plus the points. Even from an efficiency differential, like full season, Brooklyn hasn't been great. We know that, but they are minus 5.8 for the full season. At home, it gets better. They play better at home than they do on the road. It comes down to a minus 4.4. And then in their last 5 games, they're plus 10.6. Now, granted, a lot of that had to do with the Milwaukee Bucks in that last game getting absolutely smoked. I think they beat them by like 30. But I like what I'm seeing from Brooklyn right now. They're third best in defensive rating in their last 5 games. They're holding opponents to the second fewest points per game. I don't see how you lay 6.5 with Brooklyn on the road here. I like the 6.5 for the Brooklyn Nets. I would be playing them as a home dog in this game. That's my thought process on this one. The other game that I wanted to talk about briefly was I got notes on all of them, but the other one that really stuck out to me was the one that we talked about in the beginning, and that was Indiana and New York. So the line actually opened with that line. It's actually been moving in favor of New York, and I think a lot of it is probably public money. If I had to, no, actually it wasn't. So I didn't see when this first opened. It opened 6.5. Knicks were laying 6.5. It's come down. It came all the way down to 4, and now it looks like it's still about 4.5. The total 232.5 came all the way down to 224.5. Looks like 225 is the consensus right now. So Vario mentioned this at the top. The injury report for the Knicks is lengthy. Looks like a CVS receipt. Looks like a game they could potentially throw the towel in. Maybe not care as much about this game. So it sets up really, really well for the Indiana Pacers, who have looked absolutely abysmal as of late. So just to give you guys the official injury report, Josh Hart is questionable. Mitchell Robinson is questionable. OG is questionable. Cat is listed as questionable. We know that they're already shorthanded without Miles McBride and Landry Shamet. I do think that Karl-Anthony Towns isn't going to play. I didn't even expect them to come back in that last game. Knicks probably did party a little bit in that last game as well. And then all right. So also what I wrote in my notes, I know the Knicks will be looked at as all-world team. I completely understand. They've been great, recently winning the cup. But we also got to remember about the Knicks. They're 3-8 against the spread on the road this season. If they're a little bit shorthanded on the injury report, like the Pacers gonna catch them in a nice spot, in my opinion. A little bit hungover, coming off the cup win. Also, first leg of back-to-back. I think Vario mentioned that. They play in Philly tomorrow. And then on the Indiana side of things, a team coming off back-to-back losses, embarrassing 20-point loss to the Wizards in that last game. I couldn't think of a more motivational spot. You just lose to the Wizards by 20, and then you get the Knicks, who are super coming off a super high. Rick Carlisle said after the game, and this is a quote. He said the effort was, quote, unacceptable. It was probably as poorly as we've played all year. We've had other tough games, but to play like that at home was very disappointing. So I do think you see effort, energy from the Pacers. I think maybe even early in this spot, the Knicks, play. I think they played pretty well in the first quarter against the Spurs the other day, but before that, they were getting absolutely, kind of just not playing a lot of defense. So Pacers first quarter may be the best spot in this game. The Knicks are clearly the better team. The only thing we got to take into consideration why this game is so complex, though, is the Knicks do have playoff revenge against the Pacers. Remember, they lost to this Pacers team in Indiana last year, and that's the way that this season ended. So we'll see how professional the Knicks are. This will tell you a lot about the Knicks. I'm not into backing teams. I was just hoping that we get a couple more points, and I missed the plus 6.5. 6.5 was a great number, especially for a Pacers team that is going to be pretty healthy in this spot. A major rest advantage. Should have all the motivation in the world. We'll see how it goes. I think Pacers early might be the best spot in this game. And those are the top spots for me as far as today goes. So I'll get into a quick recap. Real quick. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna make a few of these bets, but I haven't made any of them yet. This is what I like for today, and I know I didn't go through the comments, so I'm gonna go through those real quick, and then I'll get into a quick recap. What up? She says, "Rise, shine, and grind." Let's get out there, Chris. Absolutely. Trevor says, 12 game slate today. Let's make some money. I need it, man. I need it for sure. Business. I got 8 plays on already. I either go 0-8 or 8-0. It's no in between. I hope it's 8-0 then. God damn, that's a lot. He likes Jalen Johnson over his 7.5 assists. He says his double might be in a parlay piece. I hope it's with points, not with rebounds, because I think I'm gonna put that bet in on his under 10.5 boards. I just haven't bet it yet. What up, dude? Appreciate you for tapping in. His thoughts on Jalen Johnson 6 assists in this one. I think Jalen Johnson. I think the line has been overcompensated for Trae Young being back. Jalen Johnson assists. This is something I heavily started looking at this morning when I first woke up. Jalen Johnson has crushed his assist line, and Trae Young being back, first leg of back. Trae Young probably won't play tomorrow. They play the Spurs in Atlanta. He probably won't play tomorrow. I think that Trae Young plays about 20 minutes today, like 20, 22 minutes. I don't think it's going to impact Jalen Johnson as much, and I think Jalen Johnson can still go over his assist prop, but go under his rebound prop in this game against Charlotte today. And we'll see if LaMelo plays. LaMelo's a pretty good rebounder. I want LaMelo to actually be out there against, to take away some of them rebounds from Jalen Johnson, go down there and crash the boards as well. Probably Jay says, "What's up, Chris? Missed a lot, but I got Pacers and Kings money line." Okay. Double says, "I'm in Texas, bro. I miss your videos for a week. What's your normal time?" So this is my normal. My normal time is about 7:35. I'm late today, but and I got to get ready to get up off here. Go knock out some last minute Christmas shopping today. Christmas party on Saturday. So I got a lot of work to do around that. Let's see what else y'all seeing in the chat. Steph Curry keeps it rolling. I would guess so. Like, I mean, I need to look into the numbers. I'm not gonna tell you anything though, if I'm being honest. But I did see that line is moving in favor of Golden State against Phoenix, and it's the first of a little back-to-back. I think they play again in Golden State coming up too. So take that into consideration. Hero been hurt in Miami. Rick says, I think they lost the last game without him though. I think, right? Yeah, I don't think he played in that Toronto game, and they lost that game. Before that, he didn't play in the did he play in the Cup game when they lost to Orlando? I think I forgot if he played in that one. I don't think he played in that one either. James says, anyone think Trae Young coming back enough to cover tonight? Not in my opinion. Don says Knicks team total under, Bridges under might be a look if everyone is there. No need to play Bridges, but he does have the Iron Man streak going, so I could see him playing briefly and then going out. That's a fact. I agree with that. Dude says he likes the Pacers. Justin says he bet the Pacers, put the +4 in his pocket. Carlisle gets his 1,000th win tonight. Fade the Cup winner. I absolutely agree with that. Fade Jackson, I agree with that today as well. Pacers get destroyed last game by the Wizards, though. That's a fact. Yeah, he been looking. He been looking. Can't be losing to the Wizards, though. Man, it makes it hard to back you tonight, boy. But I'm Pacers are nothing for me, too, man. I agree. I think it's some sharp looks in the chat. Josh Hart definitely suspect questionable after what he did. That's a fact. Yeah, that's crazy. Downs like the first half as well. We ain't gonna talk about what Josh did, man. We ain't gonna talk about that. Ace says, Chris, you should do some YouTube shorts and try the 10K challenge. It's so funny. My girl is doing the 10K challenge, and I told her, I was like, yo, I should probably do that too. I just don't have enough time. Like, my life is hectic, man. When I sit in this chair, it's the most calm, peaceful time I get. Like to actually, I take about, it depends on how big the slate is, but like this is the calmest time of my life, man. When I get up, the day is like, it's flying by. I got so many things to do. So yeah, I should probably sit down and try to do 100K, the 10K challenge. Maybe I will eventually. Maybe I will. I'll figure it out. Hornets money line for Ryan says 2-game winning streak loading. Okay. What's up, Adam? Appreciate you for tapping in. Dude says he likes PJ to get 7 boards tonight. Brian says, like my Lakers and Laker props tonight. I'm going to be very selective. Good luck tonight, everybody. I see Luka took some accountability for the lack of defense that's been played. But against the Jazz, you really expect defense. They have already won both games. I'm not sure. I don't know what to do with that Laker game tonight in Utah. Double says you like Rockets first half. Rockets been BSing, man. They have been BSing. Lost my money the other day. Pelicans are as healthy as they have been. I really don't know what to do with that game either. I see the spread coming down though because it open Rockets laying 10, and it's down to 9.5 on most books. I can't leave that on the screen for too long, Justin. Con Nipple to hit 4 threes, easy money. Yeah, all right. This is what I like for today, man. I'm gonna do a little bit more research. With a 12-game slate, I gotta have at least a couple official plays. I don't know. I kind of like the over between the Kings and the Blazers tonight too. That total continue to move up. 237.5 is still available, even though I see some 238.5 out there. FanDuel got a 237.5 though. I do think that game goes over the total. I was looking into the Kings are the worst team in the road on the NBA so far this season. I think they're like second in net rating, but I couldn't lay 8.5, 9 points with the Portland Trail Blazers because they, not even a a positive. They don't even have a positive net rating, but I do think that they can score against that Kings defense. I mean, they just got it against the Golden State Warriors in that last game. Their team total specifically was a little too high at 123.5. But I think the books are setting that high because the Kings are just so god awful on defense, specifically on the road. So Denny Abdia, somebody that should be able to get busy tonight, maybe even Shaden Sharp. Blazers should dominate the boards as well. I think they got all their centers in tonight. Portland might smoke the Kings tonight. I'm not sure if I'm bet it though. Yeah, and those are my quick thoughts. Yeah, those are my quick thoughts, man. Whatever I play, I will send it to the members. Resources are all listed here. Jackson, Outlier, Moneyballer, Odds Jam. Check those out. They're all linked in the description of the video. Tomorrow we have 5 games. I hate when the NBA do this. 12 games, 2 games yesterday, both at the same time. 12 games tonight and then 5 games tomorrow. 5 games tomorrow sound good though. I'm cool with that, man. I hope you guys enjoy your Thursday, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one.